Hey, what's up, guys? So I know a lot of you have been asking me in the comment section, when am I going to start making videos of these libs finding out? Well, look no further because we finally got some accountability. So the first one here is of Shannon Deschro, and I made a video about her a few weeks ago. And this woman works as the Assistant General Counsel for the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation, and her job involved working with federal law enforcement partners to uphold the law. But that didn't stop this woman from posting this unhinged rant, refusing to cooperate with ICE and encouraging others to make agents' lives miserable.
Conservatives really think they're doing something when they say just comply when it comes to ICE and United States citizens. And it just shows that they really just fucking chirp with no understanding of what they're talking about, because why the fuck would I comply with someone who has no jurisdiction over me? ICE has no authority and no jurisdiction over US citizens. So why the fuck would I comply with an order given to me at gunpoint by somebody who has no fucking authority to make that order? I'm not going to. That's the fucking thing. And an ICE warrant, by the way, 99% of the time it is an administrative warrant. It's not good enough for the fucking Fourth Amendment. It doesn't give you access to my house. It doesn't give you access to my car. And it certainly doesn't give you access to fucking arrest me. I was born here and I'm gonna make it an ICE agent's problem. I don't have to fucking comply with ICE because I was born here. And every citizen needs to have that fucking mindset. We need to make their lives fucking miserable. And that's exactly what we should be doing.
And just like that, 2 weeks later, Shannon Deschro found out. So after her viral meltdown went public, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation opened an internal investigation and fired her. Turns out you can't collect taxpayer funded paychecks while sabotaging federal immigration enforcement and attacking the very agencies you're supposed to work with. Another activist who thought the rules didn't apply to her until reality hit. Moving along, so this next story is of WNBA star Sophie Cunningham, who, mind you, has become a darling for the conservative right, partly due to her stance to protect women's sports. So recently, her team, the Indiana Fever, were playing in Seattle, and she had two teen fans sitting courtside wearing XXXY shirts and holding up signs in support. So this game was obviously in the liberal city of Seattle with liberal ownership, but one of the co-owners decided to make her way to the courtside area and hurl expletives and yell at these two teens. Okay, so following this incident, the Seattle Storm co-owner, Celeste Keaton, she was suspended for 5 home games. So she found out. Having said that, we also saw that jackass in this clip, and he was being asked, like, he was using expletives directed at the children or in the vicinity of these children, and that's no way for a grown adult to act, like just despicable behavior. Having said that, the internet did what it did, and they found out who this guy was. So his name is Marco Esquivel, and he's a Nordstrom corporate employee in Seattle. So far, he has deactivated his LinkedIn. So I'm going to need a bit of help from my audience here. If you guys can do me a solid, let's get his name out there. Let's contact Nordstrom because this guy needs to be held accountable. Having said that, speaking of Nordstrom, they're having quite a week because I'm going to segue to something a little off topic here, but take a look at this video clip that I found after while investigating this story here.
Today we'll be talking about the Swan Blazer from Neely Lowton. This blazer is crafted of a 100% worsted wool on the outer here. Has a very soft texture to it, just a bit of roughness as well. And on the inside, you'll see that it's lined in this silky smooth material.
I gotta share with you what happened to me last night. So I was on the Nordstrom app trying to shop for a new blazer. And what shows up? An ad with a grown man with braids wearing the blazer. Do they think that a grown man modeling this blazer is what's going to convince me, a real woman, that I want to look like that? Obviously, I shut down the app right away, but I just can't get this image out of my head. I don't understand what Nordstrom is doing. Corporate America has gone completely berserk. They don't understand their audience. They don't understand us women. We don't want to look like weird grown men. We don't want men to model our clothes. It's bizarre. It's strange. And I'm just going to say it. It has to stop.
Okay, I couldn't agree with this woman anymore. This is just common sense to me. Honestly, can we just go back to men being men and women being women? All this woke nonsense, to be honest, this is what drove me to politics. Having said that, in 2024, when Trump won again, I honestly thought we were going to be done with all this nonsense, but that doesn't appear to be the case. Moving along, so typically on this channel, we talk about individuals, but in this one here, we're going to talk about a country, a nation, Spain, run by a progressive government that loves open borders, but is now finding out the hard way. After Morocco just unleashed the floodgates and dumped about 50,000 migrants into the tiny Spanish city of Ceuta, which is bordered by Morocco on the North African coast and south of the Strait of Gibraltar. Now watch what this tiny Spanish city is dealing with.
Really wild video here. Chaos at the border of Spain's North African enclave in Morocco. This is a city called Ceuta. You're watching as thousands of migrants break through the fence and completely overwhelm the border police. Their video showing huge groups of people, mostly young military-age guys, cramming into inflatable tubes or arriving on shore another way, some of them wading in the water as they break through the gates to get to the other side. Sandra, this is reminiscent of kind of what we saw during the open border during the Biden administration through 2021, 2024, kind of similar to what we saw in Del Rio back in 2021.
Yeah, I know I totally butchered the pronunciation of that city. I got the U and E mixed up and then my Italian kicked in. Having said that, you just saw a clip of 50,000 migrants breaking through the border, but now watch hours later what businesses and locals have to deal with from these migrants. Did you see that look from those locals? See, this is what happens when a progressive government decides mass migration is a virtue. This Spanish city, Ceuta, has a population of 83,000 people, but they just got hit with 50,000 new arrivals overnight. You cannot absorb that many people into a city that size without it collapsing. And that's what we're witnessing now. Spain is finding out.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
So I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with this story. It happened earlier this year during the height of all the ICE protests. So this woman, Jennifer Cruz, back in January, was acting as an activist, was filming and tailgating a car and a marked patrol car. She followed the trooper to a parking lot where she started yelling at him. After the trooper found out that her Florida driver's license was suspended, she drove away. After Cruz was stopped again, she refused to hand over her keys, telling the trooper she was ready to fight. When one of the troopers tried to grab her keys, Cruz punched her in the face, causing injuries to her nose and fingers. Cruz continued to refuse to comply with law enforcement, and while being escorted to the patrol car, she tried to kick the same trooper she had punched earlier. Later, when officers tried to secure her in the patrol vehicle, she kicked an ICE officer. Cruz was arrested and transported to jail and later released on bail. Later, she was arrested again after being indicted on a federal charge. Yeah, this woman is clearly unhinged, and now she's going to soon find out.
Tonight at 5:30, the 41-year-old mother of four who punched a Florida Highway Patrol officer and kicked an ICE officer in January has pled guilty.
Ma'am, can you say anything about the guilty plea here? Do you regret what happened? Any comment for us, ma'am?
Jennifer Cruz left court today after pleading guilty to punching an FHP officer and kicking an ICE officer and had no words for me.
Any comment for us, ma'am? Any comment?
Cruz will now face sentencing for the January crime that made massive headlines.
Her silence for me doesn't tell us everything, but we did get a quote from her attorney in January. I want to read it to you. He said, quote, "She's a first-time offender, so she's dealing with the stress of being a mother of four, a business owner who's in custody, and she's overwhelmed by it, but she's being stoic and responsible."
Ma'am, can you say anything about the guilty plea here? Do you regret what happened?
And while Cruz had no comment for me, we have heard from her in court. At a previous detention hearing, Cruz told a judge, quote, "This is a horrible incident. It won't happen again. You won't see me again. I'm sorry."
Do you guys see the smile on her face as she's being arrested? Honestly, whenever I hear activist, all I think of is lunatic. Like you have 4 kids, you own a business, and you stuck your nose in a place that didn't belong. And on top of that, you assaulted an officer. Now she's going to find out because she's facing up to 20 years and a fine of $250,000. That's not finding out. I don't know what is.